Moinsen, this is Sebastian and I made a minimalistic marble run for Lego bricks. This is only a quick little project, but there are some thoughts that went into it which I'd like to share and maybe hear your opinion on it. My 5-year-old son loves marble runs, and in the past we had a lot of fun with Hubelino-style 3D printed tracks for his Duplo bricks. However, for a while now he prefers the smaller Lego bricks and often asks me to build a Lego marble run together. We've built a few with tilted plates and flat tiles, but that is complicated, and even though both my sons have a massive amount of Lego with my old bricks and even older bricks from their grandmother, the number of flat tiles is somewhat limited. So stand back, it's time for some 3D printing. Of course, there already are a few 3D printed marble runs for Lego bricks, and I could waste a lot of your time arguing for my solution. But let's face it, there are some great designs out there, and there are some terrible ones. And I wanted to try something else. How do you create gentle slopes with only the flat third brick height to work with, without 3D printing layers turning them into a staircase? Well, yes, a different orientation while printing, but how about not using a slope at all, but rails with an increasing rail distance? As the distance between the rails increases, the marble sits lower between the rails, so the rails can be printed perfectly flat for low friction and a smooth finish while the marble's center of mass is still lowering along the track. Constructing rails that correspond to a linear descent of the marble is simple. Just take the intersection of a cylinder with a flat surface. Geometrically, the marble follows the exact same path as on an inclined plane. And from a physics point of view, the same amount of potential energy is converted into kinetic energy. But there's a little detail you might not have expected. Despite the same kinetic energy, it does not have the same speed. You see, kinetic energy is made up of translational energy and rotational energy. For a solid sphere, this contribution is significant even on an inclined plane. As long as the sphere does not slip, the number of rotations per distance is a fixed ratio, and taking into account its moment of inertia, the ratio of translational to rotational energy is fixed at 5:2. This changes on our rail track. As the distance between the rails increases, the sphere sinks deeper between the rails, effectively rolling with a smaller radius. The ratio of rotations per distance increases, while its moment of inertia remains the same. In the extreme case, at least in theory, the effective radius would get so small that almost the entire energy is converted into rotational energy. Even the slightest forward motion would require it to spin really fast. In reality, of course, friction has a say in this, and the marble would simply get stuck between the tracks. So let's not go there all the way. Do we want to compensate for this? No, not really. I mean, you can try to work out the exact formula for the rail shape that allows for the same constant acceleration while taking into account this effect, but for the marble run, it's not that important, because the kinetic energy is still there. If we move onto a section with a smaller track spacing, the ratio of translational and rotational energy will change and the marble will suddenly become faster. Indeed, we can do this intentionally as a special effect. Changing the rail spacing while keeping the marble's center of mass at the same height means changing its speed without losing any energy. Well, okay, in reality friction has a say in it. There is some slippage at the sudden change of rail distance, and of course then friction ruins the effect a bit. In the end, the effect is very subtle and my son doesn't care, but I know it's there. And that's it. A simple marble run for Lego. I put it all together in OpenSCAD, and if you want to try it, you can find links in the video description to a few 3D model sites where I uploaded the model. If the sites support it, you will also find an interactive customization tool. As always, I have also written a blog article at There Ought to Be, which gives slightly more details about the physics. Oh, and somewhat importantly, I designed it around 14mm ball bearings, because they are a good fit for a 2-stud wide track while still leaving a bit of room on either side. Slightly different sizes can of course work too, but between the width of 2 studs and enough range for the rail distances, there's surprising little room for variation. By the way, my son liked it. However, while I was thinking, designing and calculating, he came up with his own solution for a Lego marble run. He asked his mum to just tape a base plate to the door so he could use the smooth sides of standard bricks. My fancy 3D printer and a PhD in physics have been beaten by a 5-year-old with some sticky tape. I think we all learned something today. And with that, I'm out. Ciao!